Today, we're going to unravel one of the most audacious heists in British history. Seriously, it's a crime so legendary that people are still talking about it. So, let's dive right in.
The plan was so meticulous and the execution was just so bold that his mastermind considered it his personal masterpiece. But as we're about to see, even a masterpiece can have a fatal flaw. So was this really the perfect crime?
Okay, picture this. It's the dead of night, and a Royal Mail train is traveling from Glasgow to London when it just grinds to a halt. For the crew inside, it's probably just a minor annoyance. They have absolutely no idea they are seconds away from walking into history.
Yeah, that's the question on everyone's mind on that train. A totally routine journey, and suddenly they're stopped in the middle of nowhere. Oh, and the communication lines? Totally dead. Something is very, very wrong. And then, just like that, confusion explodes into pure terror. A gang of 15 men swarms the engine and the high-value carriage, and that chilling threat you see here, it makes their intentions brutally, terrifyingly clear. And this is what they were after. A staggering haul of £2.6 million, all in used banknotes. And get this, they snatched it all in under 30 minutes.
Now, to really put that into perspective for you, in today's money, that's over £70 million. I mean, that is an absolutely life-changing score and one of the biggest cash heists the world had ever seen at the time.
So, you've got to be asking, who could possibly pull off a heist on this scale? Well, to understand how it all came together, we have to meet the mastermind.
Everybody, meet Bruce Reynolds. Now, on the surface, he crafted this whole image of a gentleman thief. Sophisticated, driving an Aston Martin, reading Nietzsche, the whole deal. But the reality? It was much, much grittier. He was a hardened career criminal who saw theft not just as a job, but as an art form.
And this quote, it just captures his ambition perfectly. For Reynolds, this whole heist wasn't just about the money. No, this was meant to be his magnum opus, a crime so perfectly executed it would become the stuff of legend.
But Reynolds couldn't have done it alone. His whole plan was only possible because of a crucial tip-off from an inside man, a guy known only as the Ulsterman. He's the one who revealed that a recent bank holiday meant the train would be carrying a massive backlog of cash, way more than usual.
And the plan itself was, honestly, elegantly simple. Just 4 steps. Rig the signal to stop the train, isolate the one carriage they wanted, move it to a secluded bridge, and then unload the cash. It was like a military operation, timed to the minute. On paper, it was absolutely flawless.
But, as it turns out, quite a lot. See, even the most perfect plan is vulnerable to one thing: simple human error. And here it is, the first major hiccup. The retired train driver they hired to move the engine, he was an expert on old trains. The modern vacuum brakes on this one, he was completely baffled. So they had to force the original injured driver to do the job, which cost them precious, precious time. And from there, the getaway just started to collapse. Within hours, the police were alerted. By noon, the gang's getaway vehicles were being described on national radio. Then a careless remark from one of the robbers eventually narrowed the police search, leading them right to the gang's hideout. The gang's sheer carelessness was really their undoing. Instead of a clean, safe house, they left behind what was basically a forensic gold mine. They'd even played Monopoly with the stolen cash, leaving fingerprints all over the board and, get this, a ketchup bottle. This was the evidence that would bring their perfect crime crashing down.
So this kicked off one of the biggest manhunts in British history. On one side, you've got Detective Tommy Butler, this relentless investigator from the elite flying squad who just lived and breathed his work. And on the other, you've got Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind, watching his Sistine Chapel crumble into dust.
And the stakes? They could not have been higher. The first robbers they caught were handed down sentences of 30 years in prison. That was a clear message that the establishment was taking this very, very seriously. For those still on the run, getting caught meant losing decades of their lives.
But getting caught wasn't the end of the story for everyone. For some of them, it was just the beginning of their transformation from criminals into, believe it or not, folk heroes.
Take Charlie Wilson, for instance. He was sprung from a high-security prison by a team that scaled the walls, overpowered a guard, and then just vanished with him into the night. It was an absolutely astonishing and brazen escape. And then there was Ronnie Biggs.
His escape was maybe even more audacious. In broad daylight, during exercise hour, he just scaled the prison wall on a rope ladder and dropped into a waiting truck. And that act launched his decades-long career as pretty much the world's most famous fugitive.
So this chart kind of gives you the final breakdown. While yeah, most of the gang were caught pretty quickly, the key players led these incredible lives on the run. Wilson was recaptured after a few years, and Reynolds lasted 5. But Ronnie Biggs, unbelievably, managed to evade capture until he voluntarily returned to the UK in 2001.
But for the mastermind, Bruce Reynolds, the chase finally came to an end in 1968. After 5 long years of hunting him all across the globe, Detective Tommy Butler just walked into his flat and delivered this perfectly understated line. The game was finally up. But even with the mastermind in cuffs, one huge mystery still lingered. For all the arrests and all the prison sentences, the vast majority of the money, over £2.2 million, was never, ever found.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? After all the manhunts, the escapes, and the drama, what happened to the cash? Was it spent, was it hidden, or was it just laundered away? Well, that remains the final, tantalizing secret of the Great Train Robbery.